Yeah, yeah. This doesn't work. Doesn't it on TV? Give that back to Sergio. Is Sergio coming? I'm just glad somebody said it besides me, because I was thinking, I'm glad you said it. All right. Good evening. I'd like to call to order this planning board meeting for Tuesday, April 21st, 2026. The time is 6 p.m. Start with roll call and attendance. Present this evening is myself, Matthew O'Neill, Vice Chairman, John Gagne, Secretary, Derek Lombard. Members present this evening are Perry Kellogg, James Nicholas, Morris Devine, Jeffrey Russo, and our newest member of the planning board, our alternate member, Patrick Lemp. Town staff present this evening include our principal planner, Aiden Adams, our minute taker, Chloe Chanel, and our assistant solicitor for planning and zoning this evening, standing in for Scott Levesque, is James Murphy. Our first order of business this evening is approval of minutes. We have one set of minutes this evening from our March 17th, 2026 meeting.
Go. Motion approved. Second.
Any discussion from members of the board? Hearing none, we have a motion to approve the minutes. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. All those opposed? All those abstaining? Who are not present? Abstain? So we have motion carries 6-0. Next order of business is item D, changes to the agenda. Do any members of the board have any recommended changes to this evening's agenda or any questions? Aiden, anything from the planner's office? Excellent. Item E, old business. We have none on the agenda tonight, which brings us to our first order of business, item F1 for new business, which is 2026 MNLD 01 preliminary plan review, unified minor land development, Rings End, 248 Post Road, Assessors Map 112, Lot 23A. This is a review, discussion, and possible action and/or continuation of a public hearing to a future meeting by the planning board on a preliminary plan and request for relief under unified review. Gentlemen, floor is yours.
Good evening. So for the record, Sergio Chiranze with Chiranze and Associates, offices at 99 Mechanic Street, Pawcatuck, Connecticut. The application before you this evening for preliminary plan unified review, also including variances and the groundwater protection permit, was prepared by my office. I'm here this evening with Craig Sinclair, who is the owner's representative for Rings End. So he and I will be presenting tonight. Rebecca Nolan is also here. She's our landscape architect. And Carla, a couple of representatives, John Carlin and Tim Foley from Carlin Construction, are also here acting as the Rings End development manager, construction management. So we're here this evening to present the preliminary application. As you recall, we're here, I believe, in February to present a pre-application. We'd be happy to go through the things that we've updated and changed and kind of go through what we've done since we've been here since pre-application. I can give a brief overview of that, if that pleases the board and you, Mr. Chair. I don't know if we need to get into a ton of detail, but we're happy to answer questions and get into as much detail as you would prefer. But we would like to get to the things that you have any further concerns about or any questions or comments. With that, I'm just going to give a brief summary. The plans have not changed significantly. I can bring them up quickly here and just kind of go over. Just give me a moment and I will share the screen that I'll hopefully bring up in a moment here. I'm not sure if there's a share screen. Unless I need to change the video. Oh, wait, there it is right in the middle. Thank you. Appreciate your help. Thank you. I'm just going to bring you right to the proposed site plan. I think you're all familiar from when we were last here. You're all familiar with where the site is. Here we go here. So just to refresh your memory, we are proposing to a portion of this building will be renovated. The rear, say about 2/3, a little probably 3/4 of the building is going to be renovated and serve to house lumber racks and other storage type facility. And the front of the house, which is going to be reconstructed, is going to house offices, retail space, display space for the lumberyard and the showroom. The parking area in front, as we discussed in our pre-app, is being slightly expanded to accommodate the parking because the rear portion of the property, the north to northeast portion of the property is going to be where vehicles will come in to access lumber racks. This structure over here being what we call the drive-through canopy, which is a covered structure that has racks on either side. This is what we're calling here, and I can zoom in a little bit more to see this a little bit clearer. There's a structure here, the 3-sided shed, which is subject to one of our variances. This lumber, what we call the drive-through canopy, is also portion of that structure. I believe the overhangs are what we're requesting variance for. And then the main structure, which the front of it will be reconstructed, along with some stair access, some display outside patio space, and then some attractive landscaping. And there's this display deck out in front here. I think all of which you saw last time. Not much of it has significantly changed. As we discussed, the ADA spaces will be up at the upper tier level, as this area slopes down from the lower parking area up higher to meet the building threshold, as well as make sure this area is flat enough to navigate for movement of materials through the use of forklifts, which necessitates a retaining wall on the easterly side of the property to elevate that plateau there and make sure that area is flat. We have obtained RIDEM approval for this plan, UIC permit for some underground infiltration, which I'll bring up that plan here. We're taking all the stormwater and bringing it into an underground system, which will offer some infiltration. And then that water will split where a portion of that water already goes to the large basin, detention basin on the Walmart property, which we've currently, the status of that easement, I think last time we spoke with you is that that easement was subject to Walmart approval. They've since agreed to grant us that easement, that that the water historically has gone to that property. And right now the status is they're finalizing the terms of that easement and the agreement. The remainder of the water will go into the DOT drainage system that's off to the west, tying into a catch basin, excuse me, a manhole on that side. DOT, we recently got comments last Friday. Our traffic engineer, Paul Bannon, couldn't be here this evening, but he has reviewed the traffic comments. He's indicated to me that there's not a significant amount of comments that or anything significant that we can't easily address and won't require any significant modifications, if any, to the site plans. Same goes for, I think they had a few drainage comments, just wanting to verify that the system could indeed handle the overflow from the system that we're proposing, and we fully intend that we can address that concern as well. But this plan takes away, I think last time we were here, we talked a little bit about the drainage ways that go out into Dunn's Corners Bradford Road. We're going to eliminate those. And you can see there's catch basins that we're going to be taking all that water that was funneling down into the road through those two paved swales, kind of little sluiceways. And those are being rerouted into our drainage system and then will be piped back into the where it would originally go into the catch basins, into that system down gradient. So on the subject of DOT, and Craig has been working with Rhode Island DOT on the purchase of that sliver of land to even out that right of way line. They have agreed to sell that portion of land to Rings End and combine it with the rest of the lot.
You want to point that out where that is?
Yeah, that's on this side here. Zoom in on this. I can go back up to the other plan that shows it a little bit cleaner. But the dash line is where, let's see.
Well, this plan does not show the old property line.
Yeah, well, let's go up to the other plan.
The other one does.
This one here shows it a little bit cleaner. So there is, you can see this dash line here is the existing property line. You see how it juts in on this kind of odd angle. And the new dash line, the tighter dash line, is where the proposed line is going to be. And the DOT has agreed to this, to take this portion of land here and sell it to Rings End and merge it with the property. So, and you're in currently they've sent you
Purchase agreement to review. That just came on Friday, but they've agreed after 11 months to sell it.
Sergio, a quick question. That DOT land acquisition, does that factor into your impervious surface calculation?
No, it actually,
So that will help that.
it's basically a wash. It's going to be about the same.
Okay.
But as much as impervious that would bring back into the calculation, there's I think just as much impervious that we're going to be proposing there as well.
It's half and half. Yeah.
It's right around that 90%. It's 89 and change.
Okay. With all of the stormwater that we're talking on this property and the impervious surface increasing, okay? How much additional how much additional water is going to be coming off of this property onto the state DOT, into the roadway, anything like that? Is it negligible? Because that huge, and I've lived here since 1989, so I've watched that go in. I have never seen it fall.
Never seen what? I'm
I've
sorry.
never seen it fall. In 2010.
Oh yeah, the basin.
That basin off there on the Walmart property that you have an easement to, I've just never seen it fall in all those years. So, so my question for you is, as an engineer.
Yeah.
is this negligible as to what's going to occur coming off of that lot?
My professional opinion and the anecdotal evidence, because I've watched that, I've lived in Dunn's Corners, I've watched that basin myself as well, is that no, there isn't going to be an impact. And I can say that because the additional underground storage and infiltration that we're putting in, we're not going to be increasing any stormwater to either the DOT or to the Walmart basin.
Okay, great. Thanks.
But I was actually out there on Friday when we had, I think, an inch or two of rain that fell within an hour. It was that torrential thunderstorm, and it was interesting. I saw the water going into that basin, and it barely covered the bottom of it before the storm was over, and then it dissipates very quickly.
Well, that also included the water from their parking lot as well.
There was some water coming from their parking lot as well. Although they have a similar type of underground system based on the DEM research that I did. Most of their water, from what I've identified, goes into large pipes that are perforated underground. And I can tell you from the test holes that we did out here, it's all sandy soils that they just infiltrate into the ground, and no groundwater in sight. So, like I said, we have DM approval. We got a RIPD's permit and UIC, which is underground injection control for the proposed stormwater system. We're trying to just clear a few more hurdles with DOT, as I indicated, but we just got those comments on Friday, and we anticipate that those will not be an issue. We also obtained DEM approval for the revised septic system. I believe that's, yep, right here. So because we're picking up this grade, we do have to modify the septic, and we'll be, picking that up. And we fit it basically close to where it already is. We're gonna basically relocate the leaching field. We're not increasing the amount of wastewater flow from this facility. From the Benny's to the Rings End, it's basically comparable. So there's really no significant increase, if at all, of the the amount of wastewater that's going to be coming off this site. But we do have a Rhode Island DEM approval for the on-site wastewater treatment system that we also have obtained. So our DEM approvals are all been accounted for. It's just we're still working on getting the DOT, but like I said, we just got those comments last Friday. So we've also, as I mentioned in the last meeting, we worked with DOT to come up with this plan. We had a pre-application meeting with them, so we don't anticipate any issues there. With respect to the curb cuts, as indicated, we've modified the curb cut on Route 1. We're adding some striping and modifying some striping for an additional lane. There was no comments from DOT with respect to that, so that's good. That situation, we're confident in that this is something that they're going to approve and something we already reviewed with them. I will bring your attention again to that this right in, right out, which is another thing that we reviewed with DOT because we're closing off the secondary access and the third access up here. So the middle one will be closed off and be replaced with the one to the south. The one to the north and the northwest corner will remain, but will be closed 99% of the time by a gate and only be accessible by the owners if they need it, or by emergency access with a lock Knox box or something similar. Speaking to emergency vehicles, we did meet with the fire department and the fire marshal and the fire chief in Dunn's Corners. We presented our plans to them, dropped off the set of plans. They subsequently came back and did not have any further comment at this time. So we assume they'll reserve rights to make comments when there's code review, at building permits, but they didn't have any concerns with respect to fire access. And that's been provided to the town. We uploaded that to the online portal. But specifically, he said, after conducting a preliminary review, I did not see anything substantial that stuck out. I believe the official review will go just fine. yours and fire safety, Jim Bobola. So. We also obtained approval for the Westerly water system can handle the required domestic and fire flows to the building. So we should be all set there. And I don't anticipate there's any other issues with utilities to the building, considering that they're already serviced. The electric and the communication comes in from Duns Corners Bradford Road. And we will continue to serve in that location. We've had some preliminary discussions with Rhode Island Energy. They did not see any issues of servicing the building with the load requirements that are required to service this structure and the site. So with that, Craig, did I miss anything
No,
there?
I think we're in good shape there. Does anybody have, before I move on, have any questions on anything that Sergio went over?
Sir, if I just could you show exactly where the variance is for the height? Because when I was looking at the drawings versus the zoning officer's review, I think I was missing the 0.6 foot difference that was being requested, because in the architectural drawings, it's calling it out as 35 feet even. But then there's a requested variance for a half a foot.
Yeah, so there's a little bit of a nuance with the way that Westerly measures their buildings, and then the architect was measuring from finished floor to the roof peak. I'm gonna pull up the building plans. They're coming up here, just so I can look at the elevations with you. Right. So I think what you're referring to is
I think this is read.
A300.
here we go. Thanks, Craig.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah, so they went right from finished floor to 35 feet, if you can see that, and they considered finished floor 0. But when we measure, you have to measure the average grade around the existing building, and when you do that, the grade is slightly lower under existing conditions than right at the threshold of the building. So we're off by that little more than 6 inches. And really what we're talking about is this gable end, this little peak here is this is a 2 foot protrusion. And really we're talking only about a little more than 6 inches, 7 inches of that. So it's really has to do with how height is measured. It's by the average existing grade. So we need just a little bit of relief. And I believe what Craig and I reviewed earlier was that you want to go through
I'll go through all.
you'll go through that later. All right. Good. Craig's going to address that a little bit further with the Route 1 corridor study and some of the variances that we're requesting.
Mr. Chairman, A300 elevations 1 and elevation 2 and A301 elevations 1 and 2 refer to a detail on A401. There appears to be a section 2 that's actually a close-up section right through that peak. Do you have that with you? Because it doesn't appear in the architecturals that I've looked at.
Which one are you looking, which pages are you referring to?
A401,
A301? Yeah.
detailed cut section 2.
Yeah. Well, that's 301.
And then you're looking for a detailed cut section?
Yeah.
301?
The call out says A401 on each of those drawings.
That's going to be, Sergio, that's going to be in the shared file.
This is where I pulled it from. So you're saying A401? Let me see if that's in here.
A401, correct.
I think A113, A112.
Because just from the macro scale, it appears to be under the 35-foot elevation mark, according to the drawings. So I'm wondering, real life drawings, someone's calculations, based on what, and there's no backup to support those calculations. So kind of at sea with how to reconcile that.
So I can tell you what we did do is we took the average grade calculation, average existing grade calculation. We took the architect's plans at finished floor is 0, correlated that to our finished floor for the building, and then measured 35 feet from there and then deducted it. So there could be an error there, but I think we're
And depending on where you are on the property, there's a significant variance in what grade is. So, yeah, if you're in the back, it's significantly higher. If you're in the middle of the building or towards the front, it drops fairly consistently. So
I'm not gonna have any issue with this.
I don't have any issue with it
Yeah,
as
not a
is.
star.
No, I was only asking because I couldn't see it on the drawing.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I asked.
Candidly, I don't
We're
think
gonna
anyone's
plan
gonna
it. I wanted
notice
make
it.
sure Where it was. That's all. Before he said yes, I wanted to make sure I understood where.
You know, it just worked out the calculations on doing the elevations and figuring out ceiling heights and everything, that it worked out to be 35 feet, which is the maximum height. When you start to average the grade around the building, we lost 6 inches. So I think that's the variance that.
Understood.
Does anybody else have anything for Sergio on that?
Question, just, I don't see anything on the exterior lighting plan. There's a ton of light poles that are out there now, and I would, that they're all gonna come down. But I couldn't find a detailed exterior.
We have a
lighting plan
photometrics plan.
There it is.
Somewhere.
It was submitted. You just went right by it. I saw it. It's in this middle. That's it right there.
Yep.
That shows the location of the new light poles and where the exterior lighting fixtures are. I'm sorry?
Want the page number?
It's E100 on the drawing set.
Yep.
Plans, yeah.
Yeah, you're getting rid of all the existing light poles and putting.
All the existing light poles are coming down.
Yeah. I mean, those are huge. These are,
All new dark sky compliant fixtures on the buildings and in the parking lots.
I'm not sure if I have a height on these.
Okay, just from a purely economic development perspective, how many full-time employees are gonna be employed at this Rings End?
I would say that there's gonna be between 16 and 20.
16 and 20 employees, full-time. And your company offers 401k, medical plans?
Correct,
Great, thank you.
correct. Do you want me to go over a little? There were some people here that may or may not be familiar with Rings End.
If you'd like to, I just wanted it on the record of what you're contributing to the community.
Well, it would be 16 to 20 full-time jobs. There might be some part-time summer help kind of things, when the yard's busy, for sure. We offer, we don't have a 401k plan. It's a profit sharing plan, which we find is a little bit superior to that. And full-time employees get benefits and, healthcare, paid time off, vacation, all that. It's a pretty good situation for people if they, Rings End is a family-run business, family-owned business. It's all owned by a family now, but it has been for forever, since 1902. And this would be our 9th lumberyard. We have 7 in Connecticut, 1 in Westchester County right now, full service.
Yep.
And we have 36 standalone paint stores from southwestern Connecticut all the way up into Maine. Then we run Ben Moore paint and stuff out of those. And this would be our first Rhode Island location. But we're very community minded and, we get involved in the community, contribute to the community and get involved for sure. We could go, if you want to pull up the renderings. We've gone through all the building and stuff. I didn't know whether anybody had any architectural type questions. We did meet with the architectural review board.
Before we do that, if we could, just, Sergio, if you could just point out, just for the members of the board, the specific locations of each one of the variances that you're requesting, so where exactly the side setbacks are for each one, so that very clear
already
to
go
the
through
record
that?
tonight.
With
They
you?
are.
Yeah, why don't I point it out and then Craig has some other information to add to that.
Sure.
So
Because I know you went through it the last time we were here,
Sure.
where they were.
don't know if we did because we hadn't heard back from the zoning officials who really pointed them out.
Mentioned some of it where we
Yeah.
were gonna be close to the line.
Correct.
That they were going before zoning for, but just
Yeah.
to clarify it for tonight.
Do you have the, yeah, please. So the zoning, I'm assuming you have the
Yes.
Town of Westerly memorandum from Martin Loisel. So, one of them's the impervious surface, which is self-explanatory, where
Yep.
that, I don't think we need to point that one out. The building height we have discussed, the two that we've been identified as the side yard setback, for the three-sided shed.
To front.
That's this structure.
Mhm.
If I can- Yep, there we go.
I'm not sure.
That's this structure here. And I can bring up the architecturals for that so you can see what it looks like. But basically, it's going to be three-sided, which means the east, west, and south side will be enclosed, and it'll be open on the north side, on this side here, if you can see the little hand here. As you can tell, we are abutting this very closely to the property line within 3 feet. Now, I do want to point out here that Rings End does have an easement over this portion of land for some parking that was part of Benny's previously. We don't intend to keep that. This box. We don't intend to keep that parking there. We're going to pull everything back to the property line. And that's where so the point is that Rings End does control a portion of this land, albeit for parking and impervious surface. So that's where the 3-foot variance is going to be. And then there's the drive-through storage shed, which is what identified on Marty's memorandum. And you can see there's a slight overhang over here, and that's encroaching, let's see here,
4.5 feet
4.5 feet on that one.
into the 20-foot side setback, the overhang. The
He's,
actual slabs are,
he misstated it, I think, on his,
I think he did.
he read it, said it's 15.5, but it's the other way around. The variance is actually for 4.5.
Yeah, it's for
feet.
4.5 feet. He spells that out down here.
Oh, he does, okay.
Yeah. Right. So those are the two setback variances that we're looking for. I wanted to point out because all of our original meetings before we came to the planning board with Aiden and some of the other town people were to pay attention and to read through the Route 1 corridor plan. So as I did that, we tried to pay attention architecturally to that and signage wise with that. And there were other things in there that, of course, this plan isn't adopted yet. But I believe, I have a copy. I don't know if these were architectural review board. I believe they were maybe planning board recommendations for amendments to the zoning. One of which is number G3B. Side and rear yard setbacks can be reduced to 0 where adjacent to another parcel zone commercial. Another one under G4 is maximum building height shall be 40 feet. So, we thought that possibly we would get some simple forgiveness there based upon your recommendations going forward. I just wanted to point that out. So those are basically the 4 variances that we're looking for in the locations.
No, I appreciate it. I just wanted to make sure we pointed it out so everybody knew
Yeah.
exactly where they were.
It's kind of hard to see that overhang on this particular plan, but it's there.
No, you can definitely see it on the architectural
Yeah.
plans. You can see where the slab ends versus where the overhang.
That building, as we know, is sort of I call it sort of an umbrella shed. It's held up by the racking that's on the 2
Right.
slabs. You see it? So it's really the overhang that's encroaching, not the actual structure of the building itself.
So this is the canopy shed that you can drive through with the 2 racking systems. And really the encroaching offending portion of it is this overhang right here.
Right.
Everything else is going to be meeting the setback requirements.
Okay. I appreciate it. Thank you.
But yes, Craig pointed out that, given the potential of the approval of the Route One corridor study being adopted into the planning, these variances may not even be required moving forward if that's adopted. So, except for the impervious.
Does anybody have any questions on the architecture of the building, materials, anything that you want to go through with me that I can talk to? How we run our business, what we're,
Is Rebecca going to present? Should I wait for her?
sure.
Okay, I'll wait for her.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
so with regards to the setback and the overhang encroaches onto an easement area that they have already.
Yeah.
And the parking is
Presentation, I think.
down below on the flip side where they
Yeah,
use.
but the way that the
I can bring up your
setbacks
landscape.
are, they're
It's
set
on
in
the
the
second
property
page.
boundary, not the easement.
That's right.
Even though
I,
it's-
I understand that, but
I know. right.
where's,
So that's-
where's the encroachment?
Landscape.
There
Or
is,
just
there's,
this.
in effect, there's almost none, but
Mhm.
in the code there is, so that's why they have to come and ask for a variance.
Can I point something out? That's the Maurice's
Yes.
observation. Can you go to the easement plan? That parking easement that's over there, that's currently paved. And we've brought our retaining wall back to our property line. You can see it there. And so that's gonna turn into grass. So that's not, that doesn't count for impervious or pervious surface for our purposes on our property, but it is going back to grass. So that's not staying paved because we can't park there because we're gonna have a retaining wall. So we have to come back to our property line to be able to build our retaining wall to flatten our property down.
That no, because it doesn't count, because it's on, because everything in the easement area doesn't count for their impervious surface, and it doesn't count for anything. Yeah, yes and no, but yes, yeah, I know, yes and no. No, it doesn't make sense, but yes and no. Yeah, I know.
The catch 22 is we have easement over it and we are making an improvement in the easement, which we have control over. But technically it's on Walmart's property, so they get the benefit of it.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's our hardship.
Yes, it doesn't help them any. It does add green space to the town. It adds almost, because I think I did some of the math on this, and it almost gets you, but not quite to the 85%. It's just shy.
We did listen though, and although it's in the
Would
easement, we
the
did.
ARB advocate in favor of this?
Yeah.
Because of more green space?
Yeah, probably, yes, but it almost gets, it's almost like I was gonna bring it up tonight. If it actually got them over the limp, I was gonna bring it up and mention the fact that it does get them over, but it doesn't count. But it's just shy.
Well, we did listen and we did put a radius here, but,
Yes.
and created more space here and this got rid of this dead space that was just paved. So although it's, once again, it's not on our property.
Not on your property.
But Craig does have aspirations of trying to purchase more land from Walmart and doing some doing some swapping of the easements. Sure, but we can't present that obviously this evening, but that is the hope that we could once control that land, maybe move the property line at one point and get closer to not needing the variance.
Understood.
So yeah, we can go into the architectural plan, or landscape architectural plans, if I can navigate this. Let's see here.
It's the next one.
I gotta move some things out of the way here. There we go. I just gotta change screen.
Got one question, Sergio, while you're bringing that up.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's probably on here, but the number of required parking spaces versus the number of, what you have on the plan, where, can you just point me? Is that on your plan somewhere?
Yes. Go back to the other. There's a parking chart on. Guess what sheet it's on. C4. Currently, we require 52 spaces and we have 58 spaces. So we're overparked by 6 spaces. That's based on retail parking spaces, based on the square footage of the retail space. And then there's also, it depends if it's below or above 10,000 square feet, there's a calculation. And it's kind of like a proration. You go 4.5 spaces for 1,000 up to 10,000. Then it's 4.75 for 1,000 for anything over 10,000. And then the office is 1 per 250. So we calculated the spaces within the building, and then that gives us a total of 52 spaces.
Thank you.
Okay, so if there's no other questions, I'll bring up the landscape plan so Rebecca can go through her presentation.
Page. All right, Rebecca Nolan, landscape architect. We were here on February 17th for the pre-app. After that, we did end up going to Architecture Review Board, even though it wasn't a requirement. I think, you know, under the new unified review. This is the presentation that we had put together for Architecture Review Board. So I'll just quickly walk you through that. We talked a little bit about the landscape in general when we came at pre-app. Again, very, you know, outdated landscaping around the building. One of the things that is noted is while some of the plant material that they put in the 1970s is now on our invasive list. A lot of it, you know, is just really overgrown. Junipers, things that do well with salt and, you know, road frontage tolerance. So tried to kind of incorporate similarities to that, you know, while removing anything that was invasive. The 3 honey locust trees picture on the top right on Dunn's Corner Road. But you can really see from the photos, the existing conditions. We have really a lot of asphalt and then a lot of grass, neither of which, you know, are great for, you know, creating any sort of ecology. And, you know, generally don't really help with anything like heat island effect. So that was kind of the parameters that we were working under. We can go to the next slide on that. So for the landscape plan, the majority of the landscaping is obviously towards Route 1, and really trying to kind of incorporate things that we know are going to survive out there. One of the changes we made since the last time we were in front of this board, you know, was to pull the street trees that we had along Route 1 back towards the parking area. That was also happily approved by our traffic engineer. So, you know, to kind of give that a little bit more in the parking lot area. The other thing, you know, I'll note about this project that's a little different than other projects in this area of Route 1. You know, this area is really automobile centric. It's sub Q4 in the Route 1 quarter study, which is really just, you know, a lot of automobile dependence, buildings kind of pushed back from the street. So, you know, when we were looking at the design of this building and working with Craig and his architect, a lot of the showroom, you know, is really about bringing people to this space. It's different than having just a big box store like a Walmart. So the majority of like the planting you see that's colorful and is really right around the building. So I just want to clarify that there are kind of 2 different zones here. There's the native things that are out by the road that can really take a lot of salt and not a ton of water. And then there's right around the building showroom that we're able to get some things in there. They look a little bit nicer. And that is a little different than normally we would see in this specific area. The only other thing I wanted to mention that, because it was brought up during the initial meeting with this board was, the view looking across the stormwater basin towards the property. And there is actually some very large existing trees on the edge of the basin. They're not shown on this plan, but I don't have a way to show. Yeah, it's right when you come into the entrance off of.
It'll work on you.
Yeah, no, not working on that.
It doesn't work on TV.
So to the east of the stormwater basin, there's 4 very large cedar trees. So, anything that's actually, Sergio mentioned things that were running into the basin off of the Walmart property. There is a bit of an existing filter there. And so there's no intention to remove any of that. I think ideally, that view that you can see driving on Route 1 is partially blocked, though there was a concern about the retaining wall at that corner. And really that view of the retaining wall where it'll be is going to be blocked by those existing cedar trees. Only other note really that I think is helpful is just to mention that the perimeter landscape around the parking area is really meant to kind of just soften it up, but it is really about just having native plants along that area. There is no irrigation on this site. It's not something that I would recommend. A lot of towns are doing water bans, and so the plants that are selected for out along the road are selected to withstand that type of environment. So happy to answer any questions if you have them.
Yeah, so I was up here yesterday. My daughter had the cross practice up in Bradford there, and I took a look at it. And I know we had talked about that retaining wall with the security fence above it. And we've got the storage shed there just right, pretty close to it. I understand that's not your property, but you guys have an easement there. I do think if you're coming south on Route 1, I looked at the cedars, I saw it, but I also kind of looked at, I wasn't able to find in the drawings what that wall would look like from that side. Obviously you see the overhead. So we had talked in pre-plan about doing some plantings there. I think it would be really nice. I think there's a great application. And I think that would just be I think that would be helpful. I think I called it the Great Wall of Westerly the last time but it is, as you're coming south on Route 1, you'll see it. I think it would be nice. I think it would be nice that you're taking out pavement there. I think that's great. Gonna put grass, arborvitae or something like that, I think would be really nice there where that wall is.
If Craig wants to step in here, but one thing to note too about the retaining wall is that, it is set into the property a little bit so that we can do the grading behind it. So I think that's, we are able to do a little bit of grading on that, onto that easement. And so I think it's something you could definitely consider.
Because I think I met with the mic.
Make sure you get on the mic.
There you go. I think I had, are you all set?
So.
Can you go back to the easement plan? Yeah, I get it. I get it. I've been in conversation with Walmart about purchasing that whole parking easement and the front access easement that we have with them. They seemed receptive to that, but I'm in sort of Walmart limbo again. But, after we procure the easement for the drainage, I then approached them about purchasing the other the other two easements, the one where we have our entry off of Route 1 and that whole parking easement. And at the same time abandoning the septic easement that we have with them, because that's no longer a leaching field. And I'm in the process of, so if we get a construction easement to work on their property to build our wall, I'm either going to have a discussion about berming up and maybe doing some low planting to hide the wall there. Or if we purchase that, then we have a lot of room to plant stuff in there. So that's certainly something that's top of mind.
When you say berming up, what you're saying basically is sloping up on
Mhm.
the
Yeah.
exterior of the wall, so you won't see the face of the wall. You'll see
The face of the wall, but
not the entire.
if it's a 10-foot wall, we'd like to berm up 3 or 4 feet, to make it look like from that side, a 7 or a 6-foot wall.
Right.
I mean, it's not a non-starter. I'm thinking about the security fence. I'm thinking about the backside of the storage shed. I think it would be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
in Watch Hill, on the backside of one of the roads, that put up a huge concrete retaining wall a number of years ago. And on the top, and I mean, it was just really, really ugly.
Mhm.
Now it's all covered in ivy. So is there some planting material that you can put at the top of this wall that effectively drape over it? And make those blocks disappear?
Well, right now, we're
Well,
pricing
and
different,
It won't happen month one, it'll happen in a year or so, but.
like a climbing hydrangea. Is that what you're talking about? Like a plant? I mean, it's like, yeah,
Just watch your landscape architect go through convulsions in the back.
Rebecca will do
Just one
something.
point.
Don't.
She can get up to the rostrum,
hydrangea.
she can get up to the rostrum, that way everyone can have a mic.
How about wisteria? That'll grow in a week.
So I think, just to clarify, I think where the wall is right now, there isn't really room to have any plantings on top because of how it's designed kind of to be right at the edge of the property. However, if they were able to purchase it, that would give us room to plant in front of it. And I think from my perspective, that would be much more valuable because you would be able to get the height that you want to block it. Anything that grows downwards has a tendency to just not look great in the off season, which we have a lot of here. And unfortunately, most of the vines that do look green in the off season are invasive. So, the things like English ivy that you see all over the place is unfortunately not something we can plant. So, my recommendation, I think what Rings End would like to do is push forward with trying to, secure some access to that parcel, buy it, hopefully, so that it, then they have the space to do an appropriate planting. It is it's a significant easement. It's enough for planting. So if just that strip would be enough. But
I think there's two things that it's specifically called out as a parking easement. Now it becomes a planting easement, but we'd like to use it to our advantage and plant. Our intention is to do some type of planting there. It depends on whether we're able to buy that or we have some kind of an easement, after our construction easement to get in there and do something. But we're aware that we want to soften that a little bit. If you want to go back to the site plan, from the northeast corner of that 3-sided shed, if you could zoom in right there, from there down and around on the north border, we're looking at different materials there, not just a big concrete wall. It has to be concrete to support the building because the building actually sits on that retaining wall. But from the northeast corner of the building, we're looking at different Versalock options there, to make it look a little bit nicer rather than just, either the larger blocks or something that doesn't look like a concrete wall. But, down on the lower level, it will be concrete because it has to hold up the building. So that's where we would concentrate with any kind of plantings. But there is a bunch of brush in there right now. Correct?
Yeah, so there's, the existing native shrubs and some of the scrubby trees that you see out there were likely part of the original plans for that detention basin.
Right.
So it's really whatever's
Property, right?
whatever's left there. So, I think ideally, the best thing would be to be able to grade into that, so you kind of soften the wall a little bit. And then, providing some, landscaping there. And just for the record, I have nothing against climbing hydrangea, but it does tend to,
Sure.
it tends to eat into things. So you really want to put it somewhere where it's not going to really attach.
I only have one other thing that I wanted to bring up. Maurice, you had a question for me on our forklifts and what they run on. And I think I said at the time propane, but actually they all run on diesel. The reason I thought it was propane is we had some rental ones that we have propane. But primarily they run on diesel. So we won't be storing any propane on the site,
But you'll be storing diesel.
a little bit.
So.
We're gonna
storage,
we're
maintenance-
investigating what that entails right now. It's usually what we call like a skid tank, which is a 250-gallon tank with a pump on the top of it. So we have to figure out where that's gonna go and deal with the permitting on that.
That and containment structure and whatever,
Correct.
right? And I'm sure the fire official will be interested in knowing that.
He's aware of that.
So at that point, on-site maintenance, so you'll have space. to set
Forklift
up-
maintenance
Hmm,
and truck maintenance?
yes,
No. There's some service where we have a traveling service truck that comes and may
Mhm.
change a tire or two, but no.
okay,
We're not gonna be like changing oil or anything on the site, that kind of stuff.
all right,
Flat tires, yes. Certain little maintenance things.
okay.
We have a garage in our Niantic store, just so you know, and in our Darien store, full, with 2 mechanics each. So, they'll do all the servicing of these vehicles in our garage at Niantic.
Thank you.
Well, you are in an aquifer overlay district.
I'm sorry, I couldn't.
You
hear-
are in an aquifer overlay district,
Aquifer overlay.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
aquifer overlay district. If you wanted to put a gas station there, you would not be allowed to. So having any sort of refueling there, I think creates a bit of a complication. Is there any options for,
In-ground tanks and above-ground tanks are different.
pardon me,
In-ground tanks for at a fuel station
in-ground
is
tanks,
different
right?
than
Above ground for.
above
Correct.
ground 214.
Above ground. And these tanks that you use
Mhm.
are double walled, concrete, kind of so we have a bus station, we store diesel. And there is a container there, double walled, that holds all the fuel for the buses.
Mhm.
It sits in a tub, if you will,
Sure.
okay? So when you have diesel at your locations, do you have a similar?
It's nowhere near
Bigger.
that size. I mean, you're probably talking, your tanks are pretty big.
No, yeah, I'm talking pretty big, but relative to the size of the tank you're using.
I can't speak specifically exactly what it is. I
Yeah.
know we have them and I can assure you that whatever we do there is gonna be permitted and done properly.
Yeah.
But it's only like a 200-gallon tank that we would keep there just for forklifts.
Right.
We're not filling, our trucks are going across the street to fill up.
Which is equivalent to somebody's home
Right.
oil tank.
Actually,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually,
250
it's like-
gallons, exactly. So
Yeah.
it's not like it's an excessive amount of fuel. That it's not.
No.
It's just a matter of if there is any sort of compromise or anything that fuel is contained somehow.
Oh, it
It's
has to be
fine.
contained.
Yeah.
That
So
was the nature of the
I
question.
think
we had
that
earlier.
and
Typically, like,
if
I
there's-
think that some
if
of the
there's-
ones we have are like a steel drum and they have a little hand, like a pump on it, right?
Yeah.
And they're double steel walls.
And that there's a hose that connects to it and,
Correct.
right. So if it matter, I would think it would be compromised of the hose than the tank would
Yeah.
would give the most problems. is there any possibility that you go to propane at this location? I mean, is this new equipment that you're buying for this location? So,
I'm not gonna say that all of it will be, because, you know, we have things that we take from other places, of course, and
Yeah.
move things around when things get
Okay.
have service issues.
all right,
I can't speak to that right now, because it's not my
Okay.
decision, but I mean, you know, if that's something that,
so we may want to put, from my perspective, if we're storing fuel outside, et cetera,
Yeah.
and we're refueling outside, we
So-
may want to put a condition here.
So there's different rules when you have that, the state has in place, for, gas stations and large, above ground storage tanks, ASTs, compared to, small refueling operations like this. Based on the size of the tank, the requirements of the tank and everything involved around that. So I,
Totally get it, but this is this is our ordinance, a town ordinance, and I just want to make sure that we have it addressed, that if there is a leak there. it
if
would
they
be
have
contained.
second,
Yeah.
if that's the case, I think all you have to really ask is that they have secondary containment. And if
Yeah.
they have secondary containment, that meets the requirement you're looking for.
That's exactly, we do not want to see it all around.
Yeah, secondary containment is really all you're asking for.
Thank you.
No, that's fine. That's fine. And I think you guys would have.
That's all very
be a
fair.
Condition of your permit
of course,
to have that anyway.
that's all part of the permitting process
Exactly.
and everything else, and what's,
Mhm. And that could be as simple, if you have a drum one, it's just as simple as
Mhm.
your secondary drum
Mhm.
container that it sits on.
Mr. Chair, if the applicants finish with their presentation, do we want to hear from the public and
Yes,
close that?
Yep,
And
they
then we
are-
can discuss.
absolutely. As well, are you done with your presentation, I guess?
we're all set if you guys are.
All right. Now, there a motion to open it up for public meeting?
It is on-
Oh, that's right. It was already, we left it up before. All right. So in that case, we'll reopen the public hearing then. Do we have any members of the public, that are here this evening that would like to come to the podium and speak on this matter? If you would, just remind you that please give your name and address, before you begin. And again, just a reminder to those in the audience, that you're addressing the board, not the applicant. You can address the board and then, we'll allow the applicant time to respond back to the public at the end.
Good evening, Rose Vandover, 20 Top Street, Westerly, Rhode Island. I am a town councilor and I will speak from that position. I think it's a great idea. I think you guys have really, they've done a great job at dotting all the i's and crossing all the t's. They're bringing in a great business to our town. They will be employing people and I'm all for it. I love the building. I think it's going to be really pretty. It's going to be definitely an uplift for the neighborhood as far as visual goes. So I just want to say thank you for a job well done. I thought they came to the table with everything they needed pretty much, and I hope this is an easy pass for them. But thank you for considering Westerly. We appreciate it. Thanks.
Are there any of the members of the public that wish to speak on this evening? Okay, hearing none.
Motion to close public hearing.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to close the public hearing. Any discussion among members of the board? Hearing none. All those in favor to close the public hearing?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 7-0. At this time, before we open this up to discussion, I just want to remind everyone that this is a unified permit review, meaning that we are approving both zoning and planning as part of this process. So in order to do that, we have to first approve any zoning ordinance variant or zoning variances first as a separate motion. And then once those are approved, Then we can go forward with approval of that. Mr. Solicitor, did I get that correct this time?
You did, with one caveat, that the variances, if they are approved, is with the condition that the preliminary plan is approved as well.
There you go. Thank you. So we can begin with any discussion from members of the board. Jeff, anything you want to say?
No discussion on my end. It's a great project and I'm looking forward to seeing the project come to town.
James?
Great project. The variances with regard to, the setbacks are all located in an area where there's a parking lot. There's no other building. They're not encroaching into another property. Not causing a problem there. So, no problems.
Eric?
I have no further questions.
Barry? You can talk. There you go. You're talking more.
Just a question, are the variants approved altogether or each individually? I'm just curious.
You can approve them all together, just on the record, it's fine. Yeah.
I have no other questions.
Morse?
I concur with the observations on the setbacks, and I think collectively as a group, not wanting to speak for everyone, but the way that this discussion went, I think we're fine with the roof question
Yes.
as well. So I don't have any further questions. Outstanding project, very, very well prepared plan set. So appreciate that coming from the construction and design point of view. So very, very nicely done. Thank you.
Patrick, any comments? Okay. All right, that being said, we have in front of us this evening, we have two motions that are in the staff recommendations memorandum. The first one is for the approval of the variances, which would be the first one that would have to be presented. So I can't tell you that I want you to do it, but if you are so inclined, you
All right.
can.
I'd like to make a motion that the Westerly Planning Board pursuant to unified review approves a water quality protection permit and variances for application 2026-UMNLD-01 preliminary plan review, unified minor land development and variance request, Rings End, 248 Post Road, Assessors Map 112, Lot 23A, including a variance of 14.4% for impervious surface, a variance of 0.6 feet for building height, and a variance of 17 feet for side setback of a three-sided shed, and a variance of 4.5 feet for the side setback of a drive-through shed, all of which being subject to land development approval.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All right. Any discussion amongst members of the board? Here we have a motion that is made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Hi.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries 7-0.
Make a motion that the Westerly Planning Board approves with conditions the preliminary plan for application 2026
Before you go there. So we have, just to make sure we're clear here, we have two conditions of approval on here. And I believe
I'd like a third.
and that, before we go into the actual motion, before we go to make the motion, you wanted to discuss.
I'd like to table that motion.
Thank you.
So the third condition of approval is the secondary containment for diesel refueling.
That their diesel, storage would include secondary containment.
Exactly.
Okay, in accordance with, the required permit.
And what about the easement from Walmart? Because that I don't think has
Oh.
been signed yet. For the,
For additional plantings or?
no, for the
Oh,
water,
that's the water.
stormwater, right? Has that been signed? No.
Oh, that's a good point. Correct. That's.
There's either DOT issues to be solved, but are those all solved under the final plan approval shall be administrative, meaning that those things will come in, they'll be settled under number two, bullet two,
Bullet
isn't that
two.
correct?
Yeah,
Typically, we would confirm all of those things
Yeah.
as a part of final plan.
yeah.
We don't have to make them conditions because they're settled. under
They're
bullet
settled
two.
under,
Yeah.
right, final
Got
plan.
it. Yep.
Thank you. Okay. Okay. So the only one really that we would be looking to add is that there'd be secondary containment included for diesel storage in accordance with the applicable requirements. Is that good? Is there any other discussion relative to the motion that was presented by the staff this evening? Okay, hearing none.
All right, my original motion, I'd like to move that the Westerly Planning Board approves with conditions the preliminary plan for application 2026-UMNLD-01 preliminary plan review, unified minor land development and variance request, Rings End, 248 Post Road, Assessors Map 112, Lot 23A, for a commercial development consisting of a renovation to the existing commercial structure, as well as the proposed building addition, drive-through shed and racking, and a three-sided shed. Approval is granted in accordance with the application and supporting materials, including plans titled Rings End Commercial Development, 248 Post Road, Plat 112, Lot 23A, Westerly, Rhode Island, issued for preliminary plan submission prepared for 248 Post Road Holdings, LLC, prepared by Sharenzi and Associates, Ltd., 26 sheets dated March 5, 2026. I'm sorry, 16 sheets dated March 5, 2026. With the following conditions of approval: one, all minor modifications to the approved development plan may be approved by the administrative officer in consultation with other town staff. Two, final plan approval shall be administrative. And three, any fuel storage on site shall have a secondary containment. Second.
Okay. We have a motion that has been made and seconded. Any discussion from members of the staff? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thank you for your time,
Appreciate your
everybody.
Okay. Our next item on the agenda this evening, G1 is future agenda and monthly, administrative officers report, including our future agenda and monthly matrix. Aiden, anything you'd like to bring up to the board this evening?
I'll keep it brief here. On the matrix, there's not much updates. I will say that for the month of April, we are supposed to be doing our CDBG annual certification. Unfortunately, that process is a bit stalled right now, and we are simply awaiting our grant administrator and our consultant to give us a go-ahead for that. Other things on this matrix are projects in review and in construction. My mistake, we just didn't update that this month. There weren't any major projects that I know of, but we will have an update for May. And the final thing would be we have started working on tracking our approved but not yet built affordable housing units. First step in that process is we have a meeting that we're scheduling with Rhode Island Housing. We already got some more explanation on that sheet I provided last time, which kind of discussed the additions and unfortunately the deductions from our affordable housing. And we'll be meeting with them, myself and some other town staff, to discuss that. I think that sets a good basis to finalize our number of what we have of affordable housing, and that lets us better, go forward with incorporating approved but not yet built, and maybe we'll see that in a month or two on this matrix. So that's all I have for that item.
Any questions for Aiden?
The only comment regarding affordable housing, I think they're up to 13 or 14 towns that have passed resolutions in line with the Portsmouth resolution, kind of pushing back. Yeah, pushing back, and they keep growing. So should be an interesting
Legislative.
should be interesting. Yeah, see how that goes. And they're also considering having a meeting of Portsmouth is talking about organizing a meeting for the cities and towns that signed on, and all the cities and towns, to come together with planning board members and town councilors, to meet and talk about the issue, so.
I think, last night, one additional town passed it and two more have that same, set of resolutions on their agendas as well. So I think we're looking at probably now 14, 15 towns altogether.
So almost,
And the buzz is more looking at.
out of 39 cities and towns.
Yeah.
Right. That's
So-
significant.
Yeah, that is significant.
And you already have, how many that already meet the 10%?
I wouldn't know, but that would be available on just the
Yeah.
Rhode Island Housing
I wanna say it
dashboard.
was like, I thought it was like 7. So 39 cities and towns minus 7 that meet it, that's, yeah,
Like, okay, so Warwick,
or
Warwick isn't even-
meet it or exempt.
or exempt,
Yeah, meet
Or
it or
exempt.
conditional.
and they're exempt because they have so many
Yeah.
rental units, right?
Exactly, yeah, so,
Do we know if the town council here, I mean, I'm just getting, kind of getting involved in that.
Yeah.
Have they discussed that at all? Rose?
oh yeah, no, they did, they discussed it and they passed a resolution
They
and
did.
signed on to it, yeah.
They did, okay.
Yeah, so no, what I was getting at is it may seem even more lopsided than 15 out of 39 when you factor in that 7 of them are either meeting it or are already conditionally exempt. Now you're almost 50%. Right. Look at it that way. Of the remaining towns. Okay. Excellent. All right. My favorite part of the meeting, item number H is our Assistant Solicitor for Planning and Zoning's report. James. Yep. Future agenda items and board questions. Anything, from members of the board this evening? No. Confirmation of quorum for our next meeting is our next item. May 5th is our next meeting. It is a special meeting at 6 PM. Right now, we don't have anything, definitive on the schedule for that meeting.
Don't we have the affordable housing folks?
We
Oh,
potentially, that's what we have. That's not, nothing definitive is what I said.
Guys are asking.
Well,
Potentially, we have affordable housing, but we don't have it definitively.
I think that was supposed to happen no later than
Than that.
our regular meeting in, May.
In May, yes.
Right.
So that's why I said it's not definitive.
No.
But do we have anybody that will not make it for, is that Cinco de Mayo?
We got St. Patrick's Day.
And Cinco de Mayo. This is a terrible calendar
My
year.
AA sponsor here.
This is a terrible calendar year. What can I say?
Cinco de Mayo is. a
Who's
day when
responsible
Amer-
for this?
Cinco de Mayo is a day when
So,
Americans.
Our
celebrate
only item on the
Mexicans and
calendar,
French.
Aiden, correct me if I'm wrong, our only item on the agenda for this is meeting with the Affordable Housing Committee if they're available, correct?
Clarification there, this affordable housing discussion, I set aside this meeting, at the end of last meeting.
Yep.
John Gagne had asked
That's
to
right, yes.
set aside some time
Yeah.
to discuss maybe, our tracking
Yeah,
of
how we're looking at
numbers
it.
and some of those bills that, and,
Yes.
his progress he's been having on that,
Exactly.
proposal he sent forth
So that's
last
what we
time.
put this in. Okay.
In regard to the housing committee, I did speak with Colin and I know we last spoke no later than our regular
Regular meeting.
meeting in May. At this point in time, I don't think he's going to be available for the next 2 planning board meetings. He passed along that their next meeting is Thursday, May 14th. Potentially, we could establish a joint meeting then. Otherwise, if we want to meet on a planning board meeting day, I think that's going to be difficult.
Okay. All right. So we can talk about that on the 5th then and figure out if we can do the 14th.
Gonna be enough to.
Well, that's what we're finding right now. Do we have a quorum? Who's not going to be available on the 5th?
Sounds like tequila's going around. But that's, if it's just us talking.
Do we want to, do you want to postpone the discussion on the 5th until the regular meeting on the 17th?
Yeah, sounds right.
Is that, no?
No, okay.
Okay. We have one item on the agenda and that's the affordable housing discussion. So,
There are also no scheduled planning applications for the May regular meeting.
okay. So the May regular meeting may be very brief at the moment as
It's
well.
sparse as well.
Two back-to-back meetings that are.
Let's just go to the May regular.
All right, so down the thing, what's the preference here of the board? I'll just take a poll real quick.
I'll stick with, not having the first meeting on the
Yep.
5th and keeping the second meeting as usual.
Yeah.
So we have three for one meeting. You would like to keep both?
In both.
Patrick? As an auxiliary member, you're voting on this one. Yes. Keep them both? All right, so we have basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 to have one meeting and 2 to have two meetings. So I'm gonna go with the popular majority here. We're gonna have the one meeting on the 17th? No, not 17th, 19th. Correct?
That was.
And then potentially if on the 14th, who would be available on the 14th if we had to have a joint meeting with the that's a Thursday. So instead of having our meeting on the 5th, we would have a joint meeting. It would be, yeah,
They meet on Thursday, the 14th at 5:30, and I believe they currently meet
downstairs.
downstairs. We can change it
But
to
we could
this room
probably
if
change
it's not
this if this room's available,
reserved.
right?
Yeah. I'd probably follow up after this meeting and confirm it in a couple days.
That'd be the 15th. No, 14th. I'm terrible with this. So are you available on the 14th? Are you available on the 14th? No? Yes? No? Yes? Huh?
I think we have too many missing,
Yeah.
because I think it's an important issue that all of us participate in.
Yeah, all right, yeah, because I can't make it on the 14th either. So that kind of puts us out, so, all right. So maybe we don't do it on the 14th, and we may have to punt this again, which is not great.
Beginning of next month, special meeting.
Yeah,
I don't know how many members can make it on the 19th. I know the chair, Colin Penny, could not make it on the 19th, and he said that being a new body, they're trying to stick to their regular meeting dates as that's when they know everyone can make it.
But Mr. Chairman, if I can interject, this is not a regular meeting.
no, I know, that's what I was just gonna say.
Right.
It's not a regular meeting, it's just a report out.
Right.
So I think if we can get, if we can get a general report out from them on the 19th, even if it's not a joint meeting, I think that might be at least something to get the ball rolling here. But Colin can't make it. That's
Yeah, well,
the issue.
we're talking about,
Chairman.
I think it's important that we have an alignment of what are the
Right,
goals
And that's.
that are given by the council, right?
Yeah. So,
So
all right,
we did this before with the last affordable housing
I know,
committee.
I know, it's
Group.
crazy, because we should get the things aligned.
Right.
All right, all right, I'm gonna do my best to rearrange my schedule so I can at least attend their meeting on the 14th. Not as a joint meeting, but at least so that I can attend it and have a discussion with them on the 14th. So that at least I can report back to us and at least impress upon them the fact that we need to figure out a date for them to get into a planning board meeting and get that through with them at that meeting. So we can get them in front of us to do a report out to the planning board so we can make sure that we're aligned with that.
We'll shoot for a special meeting in June.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Yeah.
And then we can put that on the calendar. Yeah. No, it's fine. I'd rather,
Yeah.
if it's just me going to it, we're not a quorum. It's just me attending their meeting as me, as opposed to if we go, now it becomes a joint meeting. So if I just go on the 14th, I'm just there as Matt O'Neill, Joe Schmo person attending their public meeting. Yes, and that's what I can try to do is yes, and that's exactly what I'll work on is to get that
So
figured out.
we'll establish that meeting is happening no later than our meeting in
Our
June.
meeting in June. Yes,
Okay.
all right. Yes, you may.
Okay, so, but while next with the board, we have a number of new members here. I know this year, on an annual basis, we're supposed to take training with statewide planning. I have not. And I know all the new folks have not, probably, right? So is it possible to set something up with statewide planning that we can do a Zoom meeting or we could do
Should be
somehow?
Should be coming up. We got an email.
Oh, when did you get the email? I didn't
Um,
remember that one.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago, I think I got it.
I'd say they've been,
I didn't see that. one.
advertising pretty frequently, and
Okay.
recently I spoke with,
Can't think of
I
her name.
cannot remember her name, but I provided the whole contact list for the Westerly Planning Board, so they have all your emails and you should
Okay.
be reaching
All
out.
right.
You'll get it as well.
Could you forward me that
Yeah,
email?
I didn't hear what you said.
Okay.
What are we supposed to be doing?
There's a recommended planning, there's a recommended training that all members of the planning board have to go to on an annual basis. And as a first-time member of the planning board, you're actually required to do, I always forget the term of it. Yeah, but it's annual, but the first time you go, it's the initial one, but it's longer. I can't remember what it is. But they actually do it so that if you go to the Crown Plaza when they do the one in the morning, you basically go there. Derek and I went last year. You sit in on it, they do all the meeting, they give you lunch, and then you go home. And you're covered for the year. You get your initial, your annual, and you're done for the year. And then after that, it's just the annual training, which is only an hour, I think. I think it's an hour annually. After that.
I'm
which should
sorry,
be done-
what am I being trained for? What is it?
It's
Training
basically you're being
entail?
trained on, you're being trained on exactly what it is we do, what the response.
It's like best practices.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it actually was, it was actually really informative, it really was. It's basically it's for planning and zoning officials in the town, teaches you basically what, best management practices, what the law is, what your responsibilities are. Keeps us all from overstepping, doing things we shouldn't be doing, getting ourselves in trouble, getting our respective towns and bodies sued for
I'm all
doing
for
things we
that.
shouldn't be doing.
Okay.
You should get the email since you just were brought on board, but if not, Aiden and I will make sure we get that to you, so you get that. And then you just reach out to her, let her know, she'll put you on the next available training, you can, sign up for it. And then once you've done the initial one, it's, the rest of it's just like a Zoom or Teams, I can't remember, Zoom or Teams, one of those ones where it's just online. Yeah, it is Hollywood Squares, it really is. For that,
And the
if
best
you-
part is the town covers your lost time and your expenses for travel, right?
No, they do not. No, you are strictly a volunteer, just like everything else we do. It is all on you.
Volunteers.
I will tell you though, if you do have to do these things for work, the beauty of it is if you have to do it for work, then you're, like me, I have to do this for my professional engineering license. So the training I have to do for my professional engineering license actually covers me for the planning board. So I don't actually have to necessarily go and do the one that's annual here, but I did have to go do the initial one. So, yeah. All those in favor? I'm sorry, I'm just kidding. Meeting is adjourned, 7:27. Thank you very much, everyone. I did not.